So it isn't just a dumb pig. He was the beginning of my faith and reason I am so faithful today. I'm going to share my testimony, and it all started with my 4-H pig named Joe. He was my first pig, and I spent a lot of time with him, and he was like my pet. If you have ever showed animals, you know that you spend a long time with him. Like, you spend your weekends, you don't go to sleepovers, you don't hang out with your friends. You go out there every single weekend and put in the time to walk, wash, and feed them. So we had to give him to the auction at the fair, and I was really sad because I spent a lot of time and I missed him, and I was just crying in my room and having panic attacks constantly during summer break. And I just don't really think that anybody understood how bad it truly was, because I never let on how bad it was. And I didn't tell anybody because I didn't want to draw attention to myself. And then there was a couple of people I told, but I just don't think they understood how upset and lonely I really was. It was still summer break, and I was looking for anything to get my mind off of my pig. Then one Sunday night after church, my mom asked if I wanted to go to church camp. I said sure, but I was really nervous because at that point I didn't really know anyone that well who went to my church. I've been going to this church my whole life, but I still hadn't had a personal connection with anyone there. The day I went to church camp was very nerve-wracking for me. At that point, my faith had started to grow a little more. I began to understand and realize how this works. I got home and continued to go to church for the rest of the summer. Fast forward to the second week of school. It was my first time at FCA, and I was worried I wouldn't know anyone. I didn't end up knowing a few people. I also felt happy and filled with joy and love when I was there. I continued to go to FCA the next few weeks, and I learned something new and every week and was very happy. Around the middle of October, I decided I wanted to be baptized. My mom talked to my pastor about it, and they set a date. I also got my first study Bible around that time. This led me to start reading my Bible. In January, I was baptized and happy. Then came hard times. My non-biologically related cousins' parents were getting a divorce. I knew that it was happening since September, but it had just sank in when my aunt moved away and cousins had to split their time. This was really hard on me and my family because we lived in the middle of nowhere, but they were only like a minute away from my house, and I was used to being able to go over there and see them anytime I wanted. Once again, I felt like no one understood, and I tried to talk to people, but I felt like no one would listen, and how hurt and devastated I was. I slowly began to come out of the deep hole I was in. I began to pray more meaningful prayers and be more outgoing at FCA. I began to enjoy life more and felt more loved. Then the drama came. You know how at the end of the school year, or like right before breaks, everybody just is tired of everybody, and it was beginning to show. I felt like they were all ignoring me and mad at me, but soon later we were back to normal, and I began to pray more and read my Bible more and listen to church and understand the meaning of pigs. That is what point I am in my faith right now, and I believe that I will still be a mess when my other pig goes through the auction this year, but I know I have friends and family who I can talk openly to about my feelings, and I know some of you might think it's stupid this all started because of a pig. Imagine if that was your dog or cat, the animal you put work into and stayed out from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. working on every single weekend. Imagine having what felt like your best friend at some points being taken away and sold as food. So it isn't just a dumb pig. He was the beginning of my faith and reason I am so faithful today.